I am nominating LeBron James for Father of the Year. Yes, so apparently LeBron returning from injury triggered the Lakers to send his son Bronny down to the G League. Yes, way to go, LeBron. You know, LeBron walked in like, kick in the door, waving the fo-fo. All you heard was, Papa, don't bench me no more. In this case, the 4-4 would be referring to Jerry West's jersey number. In other basketball news, the Clippers are off to a horrible start already this season. Yes, a horrible start for the Clippers. Of course, that's only if you believe anybody's noticing. In college football news, Rice University down in Texas announced that they would be giving away free beer to any student who agreed to come watch their football games. Free beer, oh my gosh, at least it's better than free bags of rice. Rice University. You know what? It's like the old Roman adage, give them bread, circuses, and pilsners. I don't always watch Rice University football, my friends, but when I do, it's because they're giving away Dos Equis. And I don't even want to talk about fantasy football. You know, forget about fantasy football. I'm the worst fantasy owner in the world. Hey man, you got 5 players on the injured reserve, man. You don't know the difference between a bye week and a work week, man. You got Matthew Stafford right there on the bench. Es puro. Let's just say we'll leave things the way they are for now. I got losses coming out of my ears, man. How'd you like that? Fly, penalty, fly. Had you gone with our pick on Monday Night Football of the Cowboys beating the Raiders handily, you would have won money. And by the way, I was only 2 points off of the exact score of the game. 35-16 was my prediction, and it was 33-16, the final score. I predicted the Dolphins would cover, beating the Commanders. They did. And I predicted the Jaguars would hand the Chargers a decisive loss, and it was 38-18. Actually, we predicted it was going to be 38-18, and the final score was 35-6, covering. Actually, it was an outright win for the Jaguars. We had the 3 losses. That puts us at 29-19 on the winners for the year, and 18-30 on the over-under. Not looking so well on the over-under. But we've got a gem for you this week. Yes, we've got 6 picks. So let's just go ahead and do that now. We've got 6 picks again for you. Week 12 of the NFL. All 6 picks are football games, and they are NFL games. Of course, the first game is the marquee game of the week. Already off the bat, Sunday, 10 a.m. It's the Colts at 8-2 going into Kansas City to face the Chiefs, who are at 5-5. Now, the Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites in this game. They're giving us 50 points. My prediction is it's going to be 38-35. The Chiefs not quite able to cover. They win by a field goal, and it is the over on that game. Next, we have Minnesota at 4-6 going into Green Bay Lambeau to face the Green Bay Packers, who are 6-3-1. This game, the Green Bay Packers are 6.5-point favorites. I don't think they're going to cover. Once again, another favorite who's not going to cover. I'm taking 20-14 as the final score. Green Bay over Minnesota. The over-under is 41.5, so we're going to say it's the under on that one. You know, Green Bay not looking as strong as they could be, but I think they're going to make a run before the playoffs, and they're going to be one of the teams that ends up in the divisional championship games, things like that. Look for that. All right, next we've got the Eagles at Cowboys. Yes, the Eagles coming off a big win. They're 3-point favorites in this game. This is Sunday at 1:05 p.m. The Eagles are 8-2, and of course the Cowboys are 4-5-1, coming off the big victory on Monday night against the Raiders. The over/under is 47.5. I gotta say the Eagles are going to win 36-34. It's going to be the over, and the Eagles are not going to cover. So that's 3 straight games where I'm picking favorites and they're not going to cover. That's the Chiefs, the Packers, and the Eagles. All right, next up, we've got another game for you. Steelers at Bears. The Bears are 7-3. The Steelers are 6-4. But the news is that Aaron Rodgers may not play this Sunday. So we're going to go ahead and say the Bears win. They're 2.5-point favorites. They're going to win 23-14 over the Steelers. They're giving us 45.5. That's going to be the under. 23-14. Bears over the Steelers this Sunday. All right, the last 2 games, as always, we're picking Sunday night game and Monday night football. So for the Sunday night football game, this is the gem of the week. Now, I have been picking against the Rams basically all year. I'm a Rams fan. The reason I'm picking against them is because 2 things. I am going by the stats and what I think is going to happen. Of course, I've been wrong every time. The Rams are just destroying everybody. But I cannot flip this week and pick the Rams to win because then they'll lose. You know that's how it works. If you're a sports wagering enthusiast, that's how it works. You know that's how it works. So I'm picking the Buccaneers to win. They're 6-4 coming into this game. It's not like they're slouches. The Rams are 8-2, and Stafford is having an MVP season. Not a doubt in my mind. But this could be the gem this week because look at this. If you bet the Buccaneers to win outright, you get on the money line, you get $260 on your $100 bet. Okay, the Buccaneers win, you more than double your money. You almost triple your money. So I'm picking the Buccaneers as the gem this week to go to SoFi and beat the Rams. It's going to be the under, 25-18. Buccaneers over the Rams at SoFi. That is the under. And last but not least, Monday Night Football. Yes, that's a big game for the 49ers. They're 7-4 and they're facing the Panthers, who are 6-5. These teams have not faced off a lot traditionally over the years. But I'm going to go ahead and say, even though I believe the Panthers used to be, were they ever in the NFC West? I have to check on that. I don't know. Maybe not. They probably came along when there was already an NFC South. At any rate, we're going to pick the 49ers to basically romp the Panthers 42-10. That's the over because it's 49.5 points. The 49ers are 7-point favorites, so they are going to cover. They're going to cover. And by the way, the Bears beating the Steelers by 9 points is also the Bears covering. So we're picking 3 favorites to not cover. We're picking 2 favorites to cover. And we're picking 1 dog, and that's the Buccaneers, and that is our gem for the week. Again, thank you for listening to this. Bet responsibly and enjoy all the games this weekend. All right, time to wind down the show, having a little chat, a little discussion about some of the more fun things about sports. We're not going to get into all that other stuff that other sports commentators talk about, like politics. No, not here. You know, November 23rd, which is this Sunday, has been a very monumental date in football. And I'm going to give you 3 events that highlight that. Now, a while ago, I read about a game that the very headline caught my attention. It said, Harvard beat Yale 29-29, or it said Harvard over Yale 29-29. You got to click a story like that. It's like, how did Harvard win if the score was tied? Well, turns out that Harvard in 1968 faced off with Yale, tied the game 29-29 by rallying to score 16 points in the final 42 seconds of play. Oh, man. So basically, Yale gave up 16 points in the final 42 seconds to give up a tie when they had the game won. So that's why the headline read in the newspaper, Harvard over Yale, 29-29. Pretty clever. Next, I want to highlight Walter Payton of the Chicago Bears set a single game rushing record of 275 yards against the Minnesota Vikings. This was in 1977. I don't know if that's been surpassed Maybe you guys can leave a comment about that. Because I want to get to another thing that happened November 23rd in football, and it was, of course, Doug Flutie's Hail Mary. 48-yard touchdown pass to Gerard Phelan to give Boston College the 47-45 victory over Miami. The Miracle in Miami. The Hail Mary is what I remember it being called. And it's one of those things I've seen on highlights, but I didn't see because I wasn't old enough, I guess, to have caught that one. But Gerard Phelan was old enough because he caught it for a touchdown, beating Miami for Boston College. They said that, I remember hearing somewhere once that, the applications to Boston College just went through the roof, like 300% or something, just because of that one play that Doug Flutie made. Can you imagine the impact that football has on academia? Oh, man. Yeah, interesting date, November 23rd. There's all these anniversaries and things like that. What sports were popular during the Civil War? Actually, baseball by 1850 had already started developing a lot of clubs, professional clubs. And they would play each other. And that's where the major leagues developed out of these. Usually they had names like what? Like the Red Sox, the Striped Stockings. Always had something to do with clothes for some reason, Anyway. The propeller caps, I don't know. But, this country, I don't think we're on the verge of a civil war, but we are definitely divided in a big way. That's why sports is fantastic. We can tune out of all that stuff and just enjoy some of life's simple pleasures. If you don't take the time to enjoy it, this is what we're going to wrap up the show on, by the way, okay? We're going to stop early, I guess. If you don't really, have a favorite team in sports, if you don't have like a favorite band, it's like, what are you doing on earth if you don't really enjoy the things in life, like music, like art, like literature, movies, even movies. People, have told me, over the years, what's your favorite movie? What is it? Citizen Kane? Is it Gone with the Wind? Is it Casablanca? I'm like, no, it's Jaws. It's okay to like things like that. As long as you like something, if you spend your whole life chasing money or chasing prestige and things like that, you're not going to be a very happy person. No. Now go out and bet on some football games, will you? Who has money to bet nowadays, with groceries the way they are? Oh, man. But you know what? We can always sit back and watch. I wonder, this is how we're going to finish the show. I wonder who is going to play on Thanksgiving. If any of you know out there already, you're probably yelling at the screen. Let's see. Thanksgiving NFL games. Right now, hockey fans are saying, hey, what about us? Looks like we've got 3 games on Thanksgiving, which is November 27th this year. The Lions hosting the Packers. Oh, the big NFC Central game. Yes, it's every Thanksgiving you got to have one NFC Central game. Lions hosting the Packers this year. That's going to be a good one. Cowboys are always Thanksgiving contenders. They always play on Thanksgiving. They're hosting the Chiefs. Fun fact about the Cowboys and Chiefs. They developed at around the same time in different leagues. The Cowboys were the NFL's answer to the AFL's Chiefs. Or actually, I think the Chiefs at the time were called the Dallas Texans. Or maybe the Houston Texans. I'm not sure. I've got a computer right in front of me, and I'm not sure. The Bengals at Ravens. Really? On Thanksgiving? That ought to be an interesting game, though. By then, of course, we'll all be asleep off of, that chemical that turkey that has and that puts you to sleep. You guys take care. We'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Share, comment. I appreciate everybody, and you guys are great. Again, bet responsibly and enjoy all the games this weekend.